Gardens. That game had a bit of a lethargic pace. London led 19-15 after the first quarter of play, and they led 41-29 at halftime. Do we get another defensive backbreaker, or we get an offensive bonanza here on your Saturday night? As it looks like Lightfoot and Williams are ready to do battle. Titans and Lightning right now on NBLC TV. Jeremiah Morty saves this one from going out of bounds, and as Burns crosses over midcourt, our player to watch will give it over to the Canadian and Terry Thomas. Amir Williams with 10 seconds left on the shot clock leaves it there for Jeremiah Morty. Morty in the last game for Lightning just 5 points over 44 minutes of action, as denying Thomas was Lightfoot as he was trying to attack the rack. Back the other way with a head of steam. There's Kindred with the bounce pass down to Lightfoot. Lightfoot trying to get around Amir Williams. Didn't like his options, so he kicks it out to Edwards. Back to Kindred, the player to watch in a Titans uniform. I don't know if he even grazed the rim there. Regardless, it's a turnover for the Lightning. Kitchener coming off of that 114-102 victory in Sudbury on Sunday. As again, I think London turned this ball back over. So just as I was looking down at my stat sheet, 45 seconds into this game, I've already missed a turnover here, folks, as London should have been inbounding that ball, and, well, lackadaisically, it ends up going into the Titans' possession. And it's number 2 inbounding it. Why is that funny? Well, they never gave us a 2 on our roster sheet tonight. So that is Edwards. Edwards is on the roster sheet is 24. He's listed at 24 in your scorebooks at home, but he'll be wearing number 2 tonight, according. So remember that. As Haley with the nifty left-hand reverse gets the opening bucket of the game, 58 clicks into it. So there is Edwards. My apologies for earlier, as again, he was marked down as 24 on our score pad. Hayes kicks it out to Edwards. 3 ball is away. It'll be rim rejection pulled away by Burns. Burns with numbers if they want to push the pace. Finds Terry Thomas on the near wing. The East Preston, Nova Scotia native gives it back to the Texan. Burns, a product of Colgate in the NCAA with the bounce pass to Amir Williams. Too strong. Edwards almost lost it. Got it back and gives it over to Kindred crossing midcourt. Hayes over to the far side to Sam Akano. Pulls up the 2 ball, hits nylon. And again, remember, Akano had 24 points the last time here at Budweiser Gardens over the course of 36 minutes of play. He had 3 rebounds and 3 assists to couple with that. Just 2 minutes into the game. Far elbow, a retaliatory 2 by Burns. In fact, it was that game, if you recall, that Burns was 2 of 10 from beyond the arc. He ended up with 23 points. How did he do that? Well, in the majority of the third and fourth quarter, he worked on that step back 2 that you just saw there from the far elbow. It was almost like that game where he woke up and realized, okay, I got to work on something other than a 3 ball. A defensive breakdown for the Lightning leads to Edwards, 2 to the 10. Notched up at 4 early from Budweiser Gardens. Thanks for joining us here on NBLC TV on your Easter weekend. Jeremiah Morty, who actually was playing in Nigeria, fresh back from Africa, kicks it to Terry Thomas, goes right after Sam Akano, and the Canadian showing no mercy. Went right after Sam Akano, the Philadelphia native, who actually played in Mexico for 2 years following his stint at Texas Wesleyan. Jermaine Haley, nice pass to Burns. That one will rattle in. And the same costly mistake that London made 45 seconds into the game, it appeared Kitchener just made themselves. Stepping inbounds prior to actually inbounding the basketball. So there's one for Doug Plum and there's one for Cliff Clinkscales. My point is neither coach is going to be happy. Now what's going on here? Officials just getting everything set up, and play continues here with 8:45 remaining in the opening quarter. London doubling up the Titans early, 8-4. Morty from distance hits the rim, and it's Kindred on the rebound. Kindred gets this at the Sam Akano. He'll drive towards the basket, tried to put the floater over Amir Williams, and does. A thing of beauty from Sam Akano. Akano actually played last year in Macedonia, where he averaged 37 minutes a contest, 20 points, and 11 rebounds per game. Haley from distance rattles this one down, and he gives the crowd something to talk about. So Haley, a perfect 2 for 2 out of the gate, leading everybody on the court early with 5 points. Akano and Hayes working together. Burns, tight defense in front of his head coach and Doug Plum. Awkward pass reeled in by Kindred. Hayes from the top of the world wanted a foul on Thomas. Instead, the other way, it's Haley to Thomas, and actually it'll be Hayes fouling Thomas. So you go back about, 7 seconds earlier. It was Hayes who thought he was fouled by Thomas as he tried to take a 3 from the top of the arc. And you go back the other way. Haley with a nice pass to Thomas, who kind of got Hayes too deep underneath the net and draws the foul out of him easily. Already mentioned how Terry Thomas was your finals MVP when he played the KW Titans in the finals last year. Last season for London, Thomas had 362 points, 130 rebounds, and 31 steals. He led the team with 699 minutes. Now remember, he won the 6th man of the year, and in about the latter half of the season was a starter. London out to a 13-6 lead here early. Blowing a tire is Burns. Can the Titans capitalize on it? Though they can't, although this goes off of Amir Williams, who's frustrated at himself after it plinkoed off of the former Ohio State Buckeye. It'll be Titans ball with 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Looking to come into the game now is Mike Poole for Sam Akano. Poole actually played 152 games for the Halifax Hurricanes between 2016 and 2019 as Hayes gets this bunny for 2. And obviously Poole had played a lot with his former teammate, now head coach, in Cliff Clinkscales. Burns, nifty pass to Amir Williams. Again, unfortunately for Amir, starting off this game 0 for 2 from the field. After he missed that, Kerr Jean-Couch looks to check into this game. The Juba, South Sudan native. Hayes with such a nice pass that it bewildered his teammate in Edwards and goes into the far corner, and as a result, it's London ball. Something we've been keeping an eye on a lot the last month for the London Lightning is turnovers. Well, they only have 1 so far early in this game, 5 minutes in, but that's already the 3rd of the game for the Titans. London shooting well out of the gate, 55.6%. Nice move by Jeremiah Morty. Stop, pop, and lock it. The Nigerian has the Lightning leading by 7. Kindred ran out of real estate. Pass is interrupted. Thomas and Jean-Couch gives it up to Jean-Couch. Two-hand cram. You could just see that play developing. Great job by Terry Thomas, too, to go, wait a minute, I could throw this down myself, but I got a teammate right here and the kid that just joined me. And the former Temple Owl gets up and hammers it down. By the way, local sports ad as Titans rattle this one down. It's Game Day magazine. They have a great article on Jean-Couch, who again is still trying to complete his postgraduate degree while playing professional basketball. Remember, he's from Temple, as they're going to call Jeremiah Morty here on the moving screen. It'll be KW ball. Looks like Mike Nuga is ready to come into this game. But as I say that, there is a timeout taken down on the court. So again, I mentioned this in a previous broadcast. Cliff Clinkscales is your head coach of the KW Titans. He's the guy that's won an NBLC championship and lost an NBLC championship, both in Game 7s, both to the London Lightning. He actually played 7 seasons for the Halifax Hurricanes and became the NBLC all-time leading assist getter prior to turning into a head coach. In fact, it's hard to believe you go all the way back to 1996. Remember Slam Magazine? Well, Cliff Clinkscales was on it back in the 1996 edition. He's also appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show, the Rosie O'Donnell Show. He was recruited by the Jayhawks, the USC Trojans, many elite schools. He decided to play for DePaul because he wanted to play in the Big East. Clinkscales is, again, played a full college career at DePaul, which is at Chicago, Illinois. That's a Division I school in the Big East Conference. And they have a long, successful history in March Madness, which I know is just wrapped up. But congratulations again goes out to the UConn Huskies on their 5th title. But going back to Clinkscales and DePaul, they made the tournament 22 times, or at least DePaul has. Clinkscales was a part of the team that beat the number 5 ranked Kansas Jayhawks in 2007, along with logging wins at the NCAA tournament against regulars like Northwestern State, Marquette, aforementioned Connecticut, who just won it all, California, and Villanueva. After his college days, he actually would be drafted 7th overall in the 2008 NBA D-League, now known as the G League, by the Erie Bayhawks. He had a cup of coffee with the Rio Grande Vipers, and as well as I mentioned, the Erie Bayhawks. He also played 1 season in Panama City prior to playing 7 seasons for the Halifax Hurricanes in this year. His team does trail by 7 points, though, with under 6 to go in the opening minute of play. Last time these two teams hooked it up, London led 19-15 after the first 12 minutes was over. I know John Van Hellingen, who is not here tonight, was saying, oh, that was a real defensive game as Tyron Walker tries to bank this one in but can't get it to go. Akano grabs a loose change. Anyways, he's trying to say it was a defensive affair. I just think both teams were hucking up bricks early as Hayes can't get this one to go. In fact, both teams shot below 27% from downtown as Jean Couch kicks this one out to Terry Thomas. Nylon ripper. Jean Couch and Thomas been working well in this opening quarter, and they've doubled up the Titans so far, 20-10. London 6-0 off of points off of turnovers as, again, KW's already turned over the ball 4 times in the opening 7 minutes of the game. Trying to will this one in was Mike Poole. It wouldn't go. And I thought Haley had actually touched that last, but they're going to say it went off Hayes last, so London inbounds it with 4:50 remaining in the opening quarter. Terry Thomas leading everybody on the court right now with 7 points. Burns gets it to the aforementioned Thomas. He'll direct Jean Couch to give him a bit of a screen away from Akano. Did he give him enough separation for the 3 ball? He did, but it's well missed. Now a beautiful pass up the court, but Akano is rejected by Thomas. It was the newcomer in Jones who tried to set up Akano, but it didn't work out. Now Mike Nuga from distance. So again, last time these two teams hooked it up, KW was limited to just 15 points in the opening quarter. They do have 10 with 4:08 to go, although they limited the Lightning to 19 points. Lightning already have 23 in this quarter and counting. Jones, the new face, Brent Jones, replacing Jonathan Williams in the corner. Gets around Burns. The one-hander's up. It won't go as the shot clock was expiring. With a 13-point lead, Mike Nuga back-to-back jacks. We mentioned it in the keys to the game, brought to you by the Stables.ca. Own a little, love it a lot. I almost got that one wrong, Curtis. It was about size and speed. I mentioned the size of a Jean Couch and an Amir Williams, but it has to be coupled with the speed of a Marcus Audie and a Mike Nuga. And I've mentioned this in previous broadcasts before for Mike Nuga, who's got 6 points early in this game. Quite the journeyman when it came to his collegiate career. He played 2 years at Eastern Florida State College. That's a JUCO program where he started 33 of 54 games. Then he spent 1 year, which was his junior year, for Portland State, where he started 7 of 30 games, averaging 20.1 minutes per contest. Now, Portland State is known as the Vikings, but he decided, I'm getting off this Viking ship, and he went over to the senior level of his senior career, I should say, at Kent State. They're known as the Golden Flashes, where he got in all 13 games he played in, but injury kind of separated him from the rest of the pack. So he ends up finishing his NCAA career at UNLV. They're known as the Running Rebels, where he played 23 out of 31 games as a starter. So he went from Eastern Florida State College, Portland State, Kent State, and UNLV. That was just his collegiate career prior to coming to the London Lightning. Lightning are coming off of a loss. That's tough to say. You don't say it too often the last couple years, too. 96-91 to the Albany Patroons last Friday night. What was troubling about that one, though, is no Marique Isom, just like tonight. No Jermaine Haley, though, and no Terry Thomas. And London had a 46-38 lead at halftime, but again, no naps after the halftime break, guys. They certainly napped in Albany in the third quarter. They gave up a 35-18 frame, and that ended up being a big difference in the 5-point loss. Sam Aquino, beautiful floater for two, and hopefully the Titans have woken up a bit after the Clinkscales timeout. Jeremiah Morty. Once again, remember, he actually tried out for the Texas Legends of the G League before playing in France for 26 games prior to coming to the London Lightning organization. He's going to get the ball handed to him from Jermaine Haley. The shot clock is winding down. Mike Nuga, who's been hot, continues to light the matches from beyond the arc. He's a perfect 3 for 3 on your Saturday evening. London has exploded offensively here as Tyran Walker caps off the nice assist from Jones. The much smaller Jones sort of zigzagged his way through the London defense, and then they left the big man and Tyran Walker by himself. I believe he's a Wake Forest product. Yes, he is. From Wilmington, North Carolina, gets the last bucket for the Titans. Jermaine Haley, oh my, from downtown, and it's a 32-14 lead in the opening quarter for the home squad. And you can see on the far side of the screen, you got Burns, who's your potential MVP candidate, resting up on the sidelines, getting some intense instructions from his head coach in Doug Plum. Nice move from Elijah Effigy. The Canadian found himself in a bit of a storm cloud with two Lightning around him and decided, I'm going to get away from these guys and get the bucket anyway. Effigy actually played for the Windsor Express prior to joining the KW Titans. In fact, he played for the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks, and he actually played his senior year at the Southern Louisiana Lions program prior to playing for the Prairie View A&M Panthers. Hard to remember all those names sometimes. 95 seconds remains here in the opening quarter of play. Remember, the last time these two teams played each other, KW only had 15 points in the opening quarter of play as a charge is called down on the court. Well, KW has scored more points this time around. They got 16, but the difference is they limited London to 19 points last time on Thursday, March 16th. London already has 32 points in the opening quarter. Currently on pace, and let me do some quick math. Oh yeah, for 128 points on your Saturday night. What a way to enjoy your Easter weekend if you're a Lightning fan. Let's see if the offense continues to rumble. It's Mike Nuga leading everybody on the court. A perfect 3 for 3 from beyond the arc for 9 points. Jeremiah Morty to Audie, swings it to Nuga. I thought he was fouled. No call on the play, and I guess that's the only way you were going to stop Nuga on your Saturday night. Now, Kano is fouled by Morty, but I think Morty's kind of going back to the previous play, being like, how did the whistle not go for my boy Mike? .103 remains here in the opening quarter of play on your Saturday night. And as I have already mentioned, these two teams will play each other in their next game, albeit in Kitchener at the Auditorium. That takes place on Wednesday night, April 12th at 7 p.m. Under a minute to go here. From the far elbow, this one will rattle down for Brent Jones, again making his Titans debut here at Budweiser Gardens. See Jordan Burns sort of stagnant right there on the court as it's Morty working it on that far side to the big man and Amir Williams. He'll go after a fellow big in Walker. The floater's up, it won't go, and Walker actually pulls away the rebound. They push the pace through Edwards. Edwards gets around Burns, and I thought he was fouled by Amir Williams as he grabbed the tin. Now Burns back the other way. Between 4 blue jerseys, loses the ball. Kindred to Aquino. Great ball movement to Jones. Tried to swing it back to Kindred, but Morty read the pass perfectly, and Walker's forced to foul him with 3 yellow jerseys behind him. Smart foul by Walker, though, considering the numbers game was not in his team's favor. And I think Doug Plum on the far sideline there is just complaining, well, is that not a clear path violation? Because yes, he wasn't beyond Walker's grasp, but there was 3 yellow uniforms that were already gone beyond Walker's grasp, the last line of defense on that play. So this will be key. Does London go to the line and shoot here, or is London just going to inbound with 6.5 left? And I think a clear path foul has been called. Therefore, Jeremiah Morty is going to go to the line here with 6.5 seconds left. And in a weird way for Titans fans, hear me out, I'd be okay with that, because let's say Morty misses 1 or 2 of these shots, well, then you're going to get the ball back with 6.5 left. So Morty, like I said, misses the first one. Morty does make the second one. The Lagos Nigerian native won the 2020 NBLC championship with the Moncton Magic, where he started 21 of 23 games. And I beg your pardon, so a clear path foul, yeah, so they essentially gave Morty the clear path foul. So not only did he get the 2 shots, it will be London's inbound here with 6.5 seconds left. Or maybe we could throw all that out the window. This is where John Van Houwelingen would help me out here, folks. I'm just going to throw that out there. Enjoying Easter dinner with his family. How dare he? I want to give a big shout out to the real MVPs of the Cujo Entertainment, and Quentin and Cameron, as well as Curtis. They told their families, you're not as high of a priority as work is. And they're here pumping in the midnight oil, as I like to say. A 13-point lead with 6.5 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. KW looking to improve to 4-5 on the road. They currently just have a 2-4 home record. They'd be looking to improve to 6-9 overall with a 4-9 overall record versus National Basketball League of Canada competition. Again, with London entering with the 17-6 record, they're in second place in the league just behind the Sudbury Five. The Sudbury Five are currently in a game against the Windsor Express, I should say. Those games actually started at the same time. And a little Mama's had a tally and out-of-town scoreboard, if you will. Sudbury currently with a 31-24 lead in the second quarter, although make that 31-27. Oh, they updated pretty quickly. Regardless, if Sudbury wins that game, as Haley trying to grab it right off of the inbound from Burns, kicks it out to Nuga, who finally really misses his first shot, as I thought he was fouled on his last attempt. That will conclude the opening quarter of play on your Saturday night. The Lightning do enjoy a 13-point lead thanks to putting up 33 points in the opening quarter of play. And again, going off of that out-of-town scoreboard, Sudbury is still winning that game, albeit just by 6 points in the second quarter of play. If they were to hang on to that victory, they hold the game at hand with the Lightning, so they would remain in first place. London would be in second, Windsor would be in third, and KW would be in fourth. If KW somehow wins this game, they're not going to be able to climb the standings at all. But I don't know how you would really word a proper analogy. They're trying to build the snowball at the top of the mountain, start pushing it down. Once that gets down the hill, they can hope it builds momentum and gets into something fierce. But right now, they were the last team out of the gate in 2023. Remember, they started about a month behind Sudbury, Windsor against Windsor. 8 games to make up against Sudbury, 9 games to make up against Lightning. And there's about 3 weeks left. And that's either going to be a massive detriment to the KW Titans. They're going to be exhausted and have nothing left in the gas tank come postseason, or it's going to have the exact opposite effect. The other 3 teams are going to be in lollygag mode because they haven't been used to playing basketball every other day, and the only team that could say they will be in that mode heading into the postseason are these Blue Titans. As Edwards gives us to Lightfoot, and Lightfoot lights the lamp. Great way to start the second quarter of play for the Titans, who were limited to just 20 points in that opening quarter and gave up 33 in the process. Burns to Haley. Haley trying to push this down the sidelines. Nice pass to Terry Thomas off the square for 2. Terry Thomas had one heck of an opening quarter of play. He continues his strong play here in the second quarter. Titans respond quickly, though. And something maybe we didn't see as often happening in that first quarter was quick responses from the Titans when Lightning were producing points. As the Michigan native and Lance Adams can't get this one to go. Moving it into the front court is Kearns. Cross-court pass over to Kindred, down low to Akano, guarded by Burns. Kicks it out to Kindred. Our player to watch in a Titans uniform draws the foul out of Adams and will go to the line. So again, they trailed by 13 points after the opening 12 minutes of play. Currently trailing here by 11. It will be Joel Kindred heading to the line. Kindred is a North Carolina native from Raleigh, North Carolina. In fact, he went to St. Augustine's College in Raleigh. That's a Division II program for 3 years, where he started 60 of 81 games. He logged over 2,265 minutes, 987 points, and 436 rebounds for the mighty Falcons. Not just the Falcons, take that, Fanshawe. The mighty Falcons of St. Augustine College in Raleigh. And again, he is your defending MVP. It is the guy trying to take it away from him, though, in Burns, trying to attack the rack on the baseline, and once again, another foul is called. Neither team shot the lights out from the charity stripe the last time these two teams played each other on Thursday, March 16th. London made 15 of 21 shots from the line. That's 71.4%. KW made 10 of 15. That's 66.7%. As Burns misses this one from the charity stripe. And this is something that I mentioned quite a bit in the latter half of the last, 2, 3, 4 NBL seasons we've been calling here, is that you would think free throws are so crucial, especially coming down to the postseason where it's going to be, neck and neck, skin of your teeth type affairs. And yet, out of the 4 teams in the NBLC, none of them seem to shoot the ball well from the charity stripe. That's a trend we saw in 2022. And it continues here in 2023. As Kindred got it down low to Lightfoot, and I'm a little confused at the call. It is a turnover. It will be Lightning ball. And I don't know if they're calling some on Lightfoot, because Lightfoot's the only one getting quite verbal with the officials as he has to go back playing defense. Jermaine Haley from Nuga kicks this one out to Burns. Burns is sort of a sidestep into the corner. Haley, too much muscle, but this one ricocheted off of Lightfoot. Lightfoot very upset with the official. Now, he was pushed by Thomas. Okay, so they did make the right call. They're saying because he was pushed by Thomas, it'll actually be KW ball. Go figure, the one night I need John Van Houweling in here numerous times in the opening half, and he's eating Easter dinner with his family. How dare he, folks? How dare he? 9:52 remains here in the opening half of play. Down by 10, it's KW attacking it and seeing new life out of Lightfoot, Jaquan Lightfoot. He's got 3 rebounds in this game and 2 points, but we see it here early in the second quarter, a different strategy as he continues to pound the paint. So he'll go to the line to shoot 2 here with 9:50 remaining. Lightfoot from Brooklyn, New York, went to Trinity Valley Collegiate College. Couldn't make this first one from the line. Trinity Valley Collegiate College is an NJCAA Division I program. That's not an NCAA program, mind you, folks. He did play 28 games in his final year for Trinity Valley, where he averaged 4.5 minutes and 6.7 points per game. Lead's been cut down to 9. Again, the Lightning led by 13 after the opening quarter of play. Amir Williams goes right after Lightfoot. Tries to back him down in the paint. Feeds a nasty elbow to Lightfoot right in the temple area. Eat gads. I don't know about that one. I think back to the 2022 playoffs, and Amir Williams fed a nasty elbow of the similar cloth to a Sudbury 5 player. I think it was either Evan or Jeremy Harris. It was one of the Harrises, and he left the game. I don't think Amir Williams was teched up there, but essentially he will go off to the bench for a bit of a breather. I'm more shocked that Lightfoot's still out there, to be honest with you. He appears to be okay. In fact, he's making sure the photographers are okay on the, the baseline. I don't know if I'd be able to read after taking Amir Williams' elbow right to the temple like that. Yet Lightfoot appears to be light on his feet and okay. Trying to inbound this one as Kearns does find Kindred in the corner, but once again it clangs iron. Jermaine Haley, another rebound in this game, his second of the contest. He takes an extra step, I thought, got the floater off and drew the foul. I guess that's that G League experience coming in handy for Jermaine Haley. Remember, after winning the 2022 championship, Jermaine Haley actually was then with the Grand Rapids Gold of the G League and the Cleveland Charge of the G League. Then he was then re-signed after clearing G League waivers in March. In fact, prior to joining London in 2022, he came to us from the Harco Merlins, which is professional basketball in Germany, where in 22 games he averaged 34.3 minutes and 13.8 points per game. Misses the second one from the line as the lead remains at 9. Kindred receives this pass, penetrates the defense, kicks it out to Kearns. Corner 3 won't go. Thomas works it to the Canadian and Haley. Haley mad at himself for that pass, and then Burns wisely hacks the Titan at midcourt. Lightfoot's got to be careful here. I understand he's got to be a little frustrated with how the game's gone. His team's down by 9, and it's been a frustrating last couple minutes of play for him specifically. But the officials will only take so much verbatim, so much verbalness from you, regardless of what context it is. They only want to talk to you so much on the court before they finally give you a T and say, hey, get out of here. See, at midcourt right now, Cliff Clinkscales went right over to the official, and he wanted an explanation. Whatever the crew chief and Assels told him sufficed, as he goes back immediately to his coaches to discuss the last couple minutes of the game. So again, as I mentioned, these two teams will hook it up again on Wednesday. That's when they will be at the Auditorium in Kitchener on April 12th. After that, the next game for the London Lightning will be 9 days after, here at Budweiser Gardens, when they take on the Kalamazoo Galaxy of the Basketball League. Going off of my previous comments, though, about the Titan schedule, their next game after playing the Lightning on Wednesday will be just 3 days later, when they also host the Windsor Express at the Auditorium on Saturday night with a 7 p.m. tip-off. As again, for the KW Titans, they're in a very interesting position. They played 9 less games than the London Lightning. They've played 8 less games than the Sudbury 5. And from my math quickly, they have played 6 less games than the Windsor Express. So all 3 of those teams, Windsor, London, and Sudbury, will essentially start to slow down, gear down. Instead of jogging, they'll be walking. Instead of running, they'll be jogging, kind of thing. You get my point. Whereas KW will be doing the exact oppo-taco. They're going to be ramping up their schedule. They're going to have to start speeding up, start getting into more of a sprint mode. And to be honest with you, come playoffs, what would you rather be in? Sprint mode or walking? Because to me, I'd rather be the team that's already continuing to sprint day in and day out and going, wait a minute, I'm used to playing 3 to 4 games in a week. Whereas London, Sudbury, and Windsor over the course of the next 3 weeks, they'll be lucky if they get a game or 2 in each week. Burns grabbed the inbound and pretty much had a conversation with his coaches before crossing over midcourt. Haley to Thomas. Thomas to the window to 2. That was a beautiful little play between Burns, Haley, and Thomas. Kindred trying to respond quickly and can't be calling this on Haley. Well, behind the play, they're calling it on Kurjan Kuch. So it looks like Mike Nuga wants to come into this game. Or no, I apologize. He's checking out. Mike Poole pulls up in front of Jermaine Haley. It won't go. Edwards, great offensive rebound. Sort of evaded Terry Thomas, who lost him on his GPS. Now Burns pushing it up the court to Haley. Haley will be fouled by Edwards. Kadar Edwards, the Brooklyn, New York native, actually played a couple seasons in Spain and the 2018-19 season with the Halifax Hurricanes in this league, where he played 17 games, logging 295 minutes. Jermaine Haley, the BC native, back at the line. As I already told you, he had two teams in the G League he played for. The Gold for 10 games, they're in Grand Rapids, and the Charge in Cleveland for 6 games. That's between London Lightning stints. And some Canadian sports fans in general might go, Haley, Jermaine Haley, why does that name ring a bell? Well, his father played in the NFL, folks, so that's probably where you're picking that up from. Kindred guarded by Morty, well out of the perimeter, looks around at his options, and his pass to Kearns is intercepted by Burns. Burns with a nice apple to Jermaine Haley, who couldn't get the zigzag to go. Turning the tide the other way are the Titans. Edwards, power move. Grabs the ball away from 3 Lightning players. He'll be fouled. Jaquan Lightfoot really flexing off the stuff here in this second quarter of play. Mike Nuga is going to come into this game. So is Marcus Oddie is going to come into this game. In fact, I was just talking about Jermaine Haley's dad was an NFL star. Well, Marcus Oddie's dad actually represented Canada at the Olympics in track and field. What's that expression? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So I guess that's how you would say it for Jermaine Haley and Oddie, who's both their old mans were athletes back in their day. Lightfoot again, the New York native, back at the line. Can't get this one to go. As a team so far, that's the first missed free throw in the game for the Titans. That can't be right. The scorer's table might be off on that one, because Lightfoot missed both there, and I'm pretty sure he missed one on his previous trip. They couldn't be 3 for 3 scorer's table. Now, much to the chagrin of Titans fans, again, according to the scorer's table, Titans are 0 for 7 to start this game from downtown. Jean Couch with the patented punch for a defensive rebound was trying to get it to Jermaine Haley, but it ricochets out of bounds instead. Points off of turnovers is 7-2, almost identical to the 7-3 turnovers that are against the KW Titans so far in this game. Titans have out-rebounded London 21-12 here with 7:14 remaining in the opening half. Brent Jones, who's replacing Jonathan Williams on the Titans roster wearing number 15, gives it to Edwards, give and go with Hayes, and Edwards caps it off below the rack. Thomas looked a little frustrated as he inbounded the ball to Audie on the left side. Looks like Elijah Lufiel is going to get ready to check into this game for the first time. Audie to Thomas. Thomas! Too much muscle that time. Had the right idea, just the wrong execution. As you could say the same thing for this play, as Hayes was trying to feed Edwards, it goes off his fingertips and out of bounds. So a much better quarter for the KW Titans. It's a 13-7 quarter in favor of the visitors so far here in the second quarter. Remember, London outscored the Titans 33-20 in the opening 12 minutes of play. We'll see if the halftime naps, which is part of our keys to the game for the London Lightning, play a factor. Again, this team has struggled in the third quarter as of late, including in that last game versus the Albany Patroons, as Audie will be fouled here. Now, I know they didn't have Isom, Haley, or Thomas for that game in Albany, New York, and you got to consider it's a long bus trip too, but London had a 46-38 lead at halftime. They gave up a 35-18 third quarter, though. And again, last time they played the KW Titans here on Thursday, March 16th, they led 41-29 at halftime. Oh yeah, they coughed up a 32-20 third quarter then to the Titans. So Titans fans, I guess you're listening to Johnny Urban right now going, well, I hope that guy's right. And I hope that this third quarter, London hits the snooze button and KW can chew back into this game. Although they've already done a fine job of that, you could say, in this second quarter. Down by 13. They're only down by 8 now. They do have possession of the rock. Sprinting over midcourt, bringing it into the front side is Edwards. Kicks it back to Walker, North Carolina native, swings it over the perimeter. It's Hayes to Jones. Jones finds a lane, puts up the floater, it won't go. Walker grabbed the rebound and then airballed it. Elijah Lufiel leaves it there for Burns. A no-looker over to Thomas. Back to Burns, bang! Your potential MVP in 2023 continues to rumble. He's got 2 assists, 2 rebounds, and so far 8 points in the game. Mike Poole looking to retaliate. Walker punches his free to his teammate in Jones. Jones again goes up. They're not going to count the bucket, though. They're going to say he was fouled before he was able to cradle it back to his right hand and get the shot off. So with 5:31 remaining here in the opening half, Kearns will look to come back into this game for the Titans. And again, Brent Jones, a new addition to the Titans, on the court right now. So far in his debut at Budweiser Gardens, he's 2 of 4 from the field. This is his first shot from the charity stripe, and he makes it. He's got 5 points to couple with his 1 rebound and 1 assist so far in the opening half. Playoffs looming in about a month or so for the London Lightning, coming in with their 17-6 record. 9-3 here at Budweiser Gardens. Now, normally you'd look at a 9-3 record. It could be 10-3 tonight and go, that's outstanding. But then you compare it to last year where they went 16-0 at Budweiser Gardens in the regular season and postseason combined. It's somewhat lackluster. Marcus Oddie spinning it around and finding Mike Nuga. There is 4 Canadians on the court right now for your Lightning. The lone American is Burns. He's got the ball right now. He wears it on the chin from Mike Poole, and the shot clock expires. Burns can't believe that he essentially was body checked at midcourt by Poole, and no call was made. He's still having a conversation with the official up the court with Poole right beside him. 5:06 remains in the second quarter of play. Now Poole is looking at Burns going, wait a minute, man, I didn't mean to do that to you. In fact, I got a bit of a headache myself, which is a fair point. Off the inbound, Brent Jones moves it into the front court. Give and go with Poole, who I mentioned before, played a ton of games with his former teammate, now head coach in Cliff Clinkscales. 152 games for the Rosedale, New York native in the Halifax uniform between 2016 and 2019. In fact, they got it all the way back to 2016, but that's when Mike Poole was named an NBLC All-Rookie team member. Jalen Hayes is currently at the line. The Sioux Falls Skyforce. Yeah, the Skyforce drafted him in the second round with the 13th pick in that round in the 2018 annual D-League, known as the G-League draft. He played 3 seasons for the Cheshire Phoenix in Britain, 1 season in Switzerland, and recently in Romania. What I thought was a really small world thing, again, he played for the Cheshire Phoenix in Britain. The team he played for in Romania was also named the Phoenix, ironically enough. 4:50 remains here in the opening half of play. London enjoying their lead of 7, looking to add to it through Burns, and it's back to double digits just like that. Burns in the last game versus the KW Titans did not shoot the ball well from downtown. He was 2 of 10. So far in this game, though, well, he is a perfect 2 of 2. Audie, long distance, book it. You had a 3-ball by Burns, followed up by a 3-ball by Audie, and what was a 7-point lead has quickly turned into a 13-point lead. Now using the big body to get the bucket, but it won't count. Elijah Effigy, they're saying he got a little too physical. Tough pill for Effigy to swallow. He played 8 games with the Windsor Express and 2 games for the Montreal Alliance in the CEBL, as well as playing over in Kosovo prior to joining the KW Titans this year. Jermaine Haley runs right into the Titan. They're calling a defensive foul. Oh, wow. Elijah Heffish, can't believe it. Had a rough call on one end of the court. He gets another call against him at the other. So looking to add to the 13-point lead is Jermaine Haley. Haley again did not play in that last game against the Albany Patroons last Friday night when his team lost 96-91 on the road. Going off of this situation right here, London made 15 of 21 free throws. That's 71.4%. So just to put that in perspective for you folks, they lost by 5 points on the road. They missed 6 free points from the charity stripe. And there were a lot of Lightning fans out of that game that went, the officials. You left 6 free points off the charity stripe and you lost by 5. You Plexco burst yourself. Getting into the action again as Hayes into the front court tried to find Jones. Jones using his speed to kick it out to Poole. Poole going into the zone. Be fouled by Mike Nuga. I'll get it right. Again, when these two teams played each other on March 16th, it was sort of a lackadaisical opening half. London led 19-15 after the first quarter of play, unlike tonight where they were leading 33-20. London was leading that night 41-29 at halftime. Well, they got a 51-38 lead right now. As Mike Poole will get the cylinder violation out of Jermaine Haley. And what's interesting here is I don't know if we can get a replay of it. If Haley punched that through the cylinder, then yeah, that should be an automatic point for Poole. But if he had swiped it, if he put his hand over the rim to swipe it away, under NBLC rules, that should have been fair game. So let's check it out here. Again, Poole has this one rattle after him. Now, no, Haley went under. Yeah, he went through the you can't do that, folks. Unless you're like playing with Dr. Naismith and the Peach Basket back in 18 what? But you can't go through the cylinder underneath it. But see, if he had swiped it from over the top as Edwards rejects Burns cheekily from behind. Now this one ricochets off of a Titan into the luxury seats. They'll remain Lightning ball with 13 seconds left on the possession. So yeah, going back to my point though, let's say Haley on that previous play, if he somehow elevates himself and is able to knock it over the cylinder, that's actually fair game in this league. Unlike the NBA where that would be considered a cylinder violation regardless. But I can't think of any form of basketball across this beautiful thing we call Earth where you can actually punch the ball through underneath the cylinder without it being called goaltending or a cylinder violation or something other than the points going on the board for your opponent. As Burns, the last time he played the Titans was 3 for 3 from the charity stripe. In that last game against the Albany Patroons, he was 2 of 2, so he continues his perfect ways, although the team themselves is just 10 of 16 from the free throw line so far on your Saturday night. According to my stat sheet, as Mike Poole will get this shot to go, they're currently shooting 16 of 38 from the field, but the Titans so far in this opening half, 0 of 8 from beyond the arc. They have not made a shot from downtown according to the scorers table. Thomas has the ball marauded away by Hayes. Up the court through Edwards. European sidestepping his way, but he missed the bucket. Audie with numbers for the Lightning. Tried to feed Williams, who patty cakes it back to Thomas. He'll be rejected from behind by Poole. Does anybody want to score? .235 remains here in the second quarter of play here on your Saturday night. Thanks for tuning in to NBLC TV. I'm Jonathan Urbanowicz. Flying solo. You know, I think John Van Hellingen owns the rest of the crew an Easter dinner then. You know, some leftovers, some gravy, some chicken, or some turkey. You know my point. Amir Williams, too strong. leads to a rebound through Mike Poole. Poole crosses into the front court, pulls up the three, almost banks this one off the window, but it's Amir Williams on the rebound instead. Amir Williams has yet to score any points so far on your Saturday night. He's got 2 assists and 2 rebounds. Burns, try to get it back to Williams. He'll be fouled in the process. So leading the Titans in their blue uniforms right now is Sam Aquino and Edwards, who have both made 4 shots from the field. Aquino's 4 of 6, Edwards 4 of 8. They both have 8 points, supported by 6 points each from Brent Jones and Mike Poole. On the London side, though, Jordan Burns leading everybody on the court right now with 13 points. He's now 4 of 5 from the charity stripe to couple with his 4 for 6 performance from the field in this opening half. Jermaine Haley and Terry Thomas, the fellow Canadians, and Mike Nuga have all combined for 31 points behind him. Haley and Thomas with both 11 and Nuga with 9. And it's a 14-point lead right now for the home squad. As Jones, if he had somehow got that ball back, we would have sent that video directly to the N1 mixtape tour. Is that still a thing? 2008 called, told me it's not a thing anymore. Okay. But man, oh man, he looked like he was pulling off some sort of nifty, pirouetting 360 street ball move, but then he lost the ball. Got me all hyped up for nothing. Out on the court right now is the Kitchener native and Juwan Miller. Always loved the story of Juwan Miller, a local native playing for his hometown. Oh my word! Burns to Haley, and the sneaky alley-oop goes through. That was very stealthy. I think that's the only word I could come up with that last alley-oop. That was stealth. $1:20 left on the Budweiser clock in the second quarter. Poole's 2-ball won't go. Mike Nuga on the rebound. It's his second of the contest. Burns leading everybody on the court right now with 15 points. He's a perfect 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Calls for support from Elijah Lufiel and gets it. Burns from the near elbow continues to back down the Titans. Got it to Elijah Lufiel. He'll be stripped away of the rock. Back the other way come the boys in blue. Into the corner for 3. It won't go. Trying to get his own rebound there was Brent Jones, and instead London holds possession. Burns realizing the situation. His team's got a 16-point lead here at home as Elijah Lufiel almost lost it for a second possession. Instead, he goes, hey, wait a minute. I'll just attack the rack. I don't know if you saw that. He was almost confused, lost the ball, and once he got it back, went, enough of this. I'm just going right to the basket. Almost stealing this one was Terry Thomas. It goes off of the East Preston, Nova Scotia native's fingertips. It'll be an inbound for the Titans. 15 seconds left on the shot clock. 20 seconds left, though, in the second quarter. Hayes, nylon ripper in front of Elijah Lufiel's face. So currently a 15-point lead. Burns trying to respond, couldn't get it to go. If Kindred pushes the pace, they'll get one last shot here in the frame. As the buzzer goes, Kindred can't get the shot to go. And as a result, the London Lightning have a 15-point lead. Remember, they had a 13-point lead after the first quarter of play here at Budweiser Gardens on your Saturday night. A much different game than we saw between these two teams dating back early in March. It was, again, a very close affair. John Van Halling, I somehow hear him in my ear regardless of him not being here saying, it was great defense in that opening half. I think both teams were just building a brick house. But tonight, different story. Both teams shooting the ball exceptionally well. In fact, you'd want to see some more defense on both sides, whether you're Doug Plum or Cliff Clinkscales. Kitchener-Waterloo, let's face it, that was a tough first quarter pill to swallow where they were down 33-20 after the first. In their last game, they had a 46-38 lead. They were leading by 8 at halftime on the road in upstate New York against the Albany Patroons on Friday night. Well, that got choked away quickly when they gave up a 35-18 third quarter. So they were outscored in the last game in the third quarter by 17 points, and they were outscored in the last game in the third quarter against the Titans by 12. So if you hear the snooze button going off, don't hit it right now, Lightning fans. Come on now. They got to wake up. I shouldn't say they got to wake up. They got to stay awake because they've had a heck of an offensive bonanza over the first 2 quarters of play. They scored 33 points in the first quarter, 26 points in the second quarter. You know, again, KW was controlling and sort of dictating that opening half of the second Q. They had nibbled the lead down to just 2 or 3 possessions, but unfortunately, London woke up, especially with a couple minutes left in the second quarter of play, and actually ended up winning the second quarter 26-24, a very close one. As we start out the third quarter of play, it's Haley inbounding it to Burns, who, as I mentioned before, leading everybody on the court right now with 15 points. He is supported by Haley, who inbounded the ball to start off this half with 13 points, and Terry Thomas has 11. So foul called on Hayes, I believe, will allow London to inbound the ball with 13 seconds into the third quarter of action. In fact, I'm pretty sure Haley was saying, why do you even call him on that? As Terry Thomas tries to avoid Sam Aquino. Terry Thomas penetrating the defense, pushes this one off the window. Now numbers the other way for Kindred, who's only got 2 points in the opening half. He matches it there 28 seconds into the second half. So it took him 24 minutes to accumulate 2 points. It took him 28 seconds to accumulate the next 2 points. So if you're a Titans fan, you want to see a lot more of that out of number 22 in the remainder of your Saturday evening. Morty with the bounce pass into the corner for Haley, who I thought was going to take the three. Was that a palming violation on Terry Thomas or an up and down? Regardless, the Nova Scotia native had the ball, but they're saying it's a turnover. Titans turning the tide the other way. Kindred to Hayes. Hayes, the last time he played, the Lightning had 20 points and 10 rebounds for the double-double performance over 34 minutes of play. So far tonight, he's got 3 assists and 2 rebounds and 7 points after the first half. Jermaine Haley couldn't get the shot to go. Terry Thomas fumbled the rebound away. Now Aquino up to Hayes, who in turn does the same thing. It's a turnover and now Lightning ball. Points in the paint in this game have benefited the Titans, ironically enough, albeit just 24-18. So we'll see if they try to, penetrate the paint a lot more in this second half. Turnovers somewhat even, just 10-8 against the Titans, only leading to a 10-6 points off of turnovers in favor of the Lightning. Burns to Williams, who lost it to Lightfoot, gathers it to Kindred up to the front court down the right wing. Kindred crosses through the Lightning zone and bounce passes this one to Lightfoot with 13 seconds left on the shot clock. Jaquan Lightfoot out to Edwards, rattles this one down for 3. That's his first make from beyond the arc. He now leads everybody in a blue Titans uniform with 11 points. He's 5 of 9 from the field. Haley getting around Hayes, ditches this one off to Williams. They're going to say Hayes fouled Haley. That's already the second time that's happened in this third quarter of play. Lightning with a 17-6 overall record. They're 10-5 versus the National Basketball League of Canada. So far in 2023, they're 7-1 versus the Basketball League. Remember, they swept all 4 games versus the Newfoundland Rogues. They beat the Jamestown Jackals and Kokomo Bobcats. And then, unfortunately, they suffered another loss. They've only lost 1 team in the TBL, or the Basketball League, and that's the Albany Patroons. They lost to them in Albany in 2022, and recently, last Friday, back in Albany, 96-91. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's an 11-2 historical record versus the TBL. And again, the 2 in the loss column are both against the Albany Patroons. Albany, by the way, lost in the TBL final last year. They've won a championship in their history. As Kindred wills this one in. He's now got 6 points. So does Brent Jones and Poole. Hayes has 7 and Aquino has 8. It's Edwards leading everybody with 11, though. Off the ball, the whistle goes. And they're calling it on Lightfoot. So they're saying Jaquan Lightfoot was holding on the end of that play. That'll be his second foul of the game. As far as fouls is concerned, Elijah Ethige and Jalen Hayes both have 3. And in the Lightning uniform, Jeremiah Morty has 3. Now Amir Williams tries a European sidestep his way. Well, you can't take 2 steps to the side. That's a travel. Titans in their last game, by the way, trailed 50-49 at halftime, but they dominated a fourth quarter in Sudbury, 35-23. So even if this game is a little out of hand, as Lightfoot tries to light his bench up a little bit with the two-hand cram. But my point is, they're down by 7 now with 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Let's say they're down by double digits in the fourth quarter. It won't be over. This is a team that, again, outscored their opponents by 12 points in the fourth quarter as Williams tried to throw down the alley-oop, and he'll be fouled in the process as we're taking another look at that Lightfoot cram. Amir Williams is now going to head to the line for the London Lightning. The Birmingham, Michigan native played 4 years at Ohio State for the Buckeyes, where he had 187 blocks, 660 points over 2,200 minutes. Williams has practically been all over the world in his basketball career, playing for New Zealand, Switzerland, Hungary, Britain. In fact, he's got Switzerland citizenship from his time in Switzerland basketball. And this is all prior to joining London. And remember, between winning the 2022 championship and rejoining the team in the latter half of this season, he was playing in Malaysia. After the Williams miss, London gets the ball back, and with 8 seconds left, Jermaine Haley's going to, well, set up the clock, so to speak. The long-distance 3 won't go. Amir Williams actually tapped this off the side of the backboard, so it'll be out of bounds and Titans ball. Eight points trying to chew in as Kindred as his team trails here on the road. Ethige powers his way in. Couldn't get the original shot to go, and they're going to say this last touched Williams out of bounds and it'll remain Titans ball. Think back to the 2022 regular season. These two teams played each other 6 times. London won 5 of those games. Then these two teams saw each other in the NBLC finals. London swept that best of 3 series. As Sam McCano couldn't get love off the glass. Great outlet pass to Burns, to Haley, I should say, from Burns, and Haley just coasts this in for 2. An amazing job by Burns to recognize the fact that Haley had already slipped behind the defense, and he just whiplashed that ball down the court, and in fact, almost Haley kind of ran up to catch up to it. Now Kurt Jean-Couch from Juba, South Sudan, sort of put on the brakes and saw his options, and he decided to go to Haley. I thought they might have been calling Haley for travel, but instead they're calling a foul on the court against Ethige. That'll be his 4th foul of the game. Team's 5th foul. London has yet to commit a foul in this second half of action. Talked about not hitting the snooze button. London, though, I mean, they only have 4 points to show for themselves so far in the second half. As Terry Thomas spills Kindred down to the deck. And then Jean-Couch, Edwards didn't like how Jean-Couch had reacted at the end of that one. Now Jean-Couch is telling his own teammates to not touch me. What's going on here? I think that's a smart move by Lightfoot and Edwards, is to get out of dodge and just sort of walk away from that situation. I don't know if we'll catch it on a replay or not, but Jean-Couch was involved in the action, but whatever either was said or occurred at the very end of that play got the South Sudan native a little upset. And again, we talked about, a lackadaisical start to the third quarter. Well, it's a 9-4 start. So they must have been calling Jean Couch on his path to get there, and he must have done something to Edwards to do that. That must have happened just before our replay kicked in. So as Burns is trying to get it in here, watch out, there's Edwards behind the play. Oh no, Jean Couch, yeah, that's why Edwards was upset. Jean Couch has two-hand decked Lightfoot down to the ground. As FJ gives it back to Terry Thomas at midcourt. Things are getting a little physical here on your Saturday night. Hey, the London Lightning, I should say, the London Knights OHL team play in the same building. They got through their first round against the Owen Sound Attack, I believe, and now will host the Kitchener Rangers. Interesting to note, Game 5 of that series, again, you don't necessarily need 5 games. I guess Kitchener didn't when they swept the Windsor Spitfires out of the gate as Jean Couch grabs the two-hand cram from Haley. But an interesting note, Lightning will play here on the 21st and 22nd against the Kalamazoo Galaxy. That Game 5 between the Knights and the Rangers is scheduled for the 20th. So if there is a Game 5 needed, you'll have an OHL playoff game, and then 24 hours later, as Jones gets a nifty 2 points. But yeah, 24 hours later, the arena staff will be really burning the midnight oil. They'll turn this entire place from a playoff hockey atmosphere back into a basketball court. And let's say that series went to Game 7 after playing 2 basketball games, they'll switch it back to a hockey arena. As the travel is called against Jean Couch before he could pass the ball off to Mike Nuga. .637 remains here in the third quarter of play. It is a 10-point lead for the Lightning. Edwards with the give and go with Kindred, but Edwards backtracks to the far wing. Nifty ball handling by Sam Aquino. Shot clock is expiring. Jones from Kindred has to launch it up, and it's a bullseye. Jones, 11 points, tied with Edwards to lead everybody in a Titans uniform. But it is Jermaine Haley for the Lightning leading everybody on the court with 16 points as Jean Couch gets called again for the foul behind the play. That's already his third foul. And, I mean, my math isn't the greatest, but I'm pretty sure those 3 fouls all occurred within the last 4 minutes or so. And he had a pretty nasty one on Jaquan Lightfoot earlier where, you know, I didn't catch it right away, but great job by Curtis on the replay. You saw it there where he just two-hand decked Lightfoot right down to the ground. I mean, I know he's a new face and he wants to, you know, make a physical presence. I don't know if that's exactly the type of physical presence Doug Plum had in mind for one of the new bigs on his roster. Trying to cut into this 7-point deficit. Aquino couldn't get this one to go. A bit of a rough night. He's 4 of 9 from the field, and he's yet to make a shot from downtown. He's got 8 points. Terry Thomas left alone. You just can't do that for your defending Canadian player and 6th man of the year. KW just simply not recognizing the situation. That's not a guy you want to leave open outside of the perimeter. As Jones bewilders Williams and Nuga, and the underhand right he goes. Timeout called on the floor before Jeremiah Morty and Marcus Oddie check into this game. 8-point lead for the Lightning. We mentioned it time and time again. Don't fall asleep in the third quarter of play. So far, it is a 16-9 third quarter for the Titans. So it continues to trend in the wrong direction for Lightning fans in the third quarter of play. And I guess when your team has a 17-6 record and second in the league, you're not really going to complain about that too much. But come playoff time, every quarter is going to count, folks. And having this trend of lackluster third quarters probably ain't going to help you much when it all comes down to the wire. KW responding well out of the gate. But as I mentioned last time they were here at Budweiser Gardens, they outscored the Lightning 32-20 over that third quarter frame. And in fact, they're coming off of a game where they won 114-102 in Sudbury last Sunday, large in part to a dominating fourth quarter performance where the team outscored the 5 35-23. Both teams are back in action against each other next Wednesday, or I guess I should say this Wednesday coming up. That'll take place at the Auditorium in Kitchener at 7 p.m. Tickets available at both NBLC and KW Titans websites. Titans again looking for their 4th win on the road in 2023. This is a team that just has a 2-4 home record so far, 5-9 overall, and 3-9 versus Canadian opponents. London, 10-5 versus Canadian opponents, 9-3 here at home, and a pretty impressive 7-3 road record, although coming off of a road loss to the Albany Patroons last Friday, 96-91. Marcus Oddie across midcourt. 12 seconds left on the shot clock as Williams leaves it there for Haley. Nice pass to Thomas, and another pass to Williams, who wanted the and one but won't get it. Sometimes that extra pass can burn you, other times it can help. It certainly helped the Lightning on that last possession to extend it to a double-digit lead. Brent Jones been ultra impressed with the smaller guard, although Walker's pass will be intercepted to Kearns from Thomas. A no-looker to Audie. Audie had to readjust himself at midair just to keep the play alive. Now Williams muscles this one home. The Birmingham, Michigan native, I mean, what are you going to do other than foul him to stop him there? Akano needs this three, doesn't get it. Fortuitous rebound, pops out to Walker. Poole deep in the zone, kicks it out to Walker. Walker's left by himself. Oh my word. And to make matters worse, after that ugly shot by Walker, Mike Poole grabbed the loose change and he was stepping out of bounds in the process. Ew. Again, Cliff Cleanscales, he's won a game 7, he's lost a game 7 for the championship in this league. And in both cases, was to the London Lightning. Sure, there's a little bad taste in his mouth, although some good memories too against this squad. Haley, a no-looker to Williams. Oh my. Amir Williams heating up here in this second half of action. He's now got 7 points in this game. Remember, he only had 3 heading into the halftime break. Mike Poole left wide open. Can he make him pay? Rim rejection instead. The Nigerian, Jeremiah Morty, puts on the brakes as he crossed over midcourt and finds a Canadian in Terry Thomas. Down low to Williams. Back out to Morty. Morty being guarded by Sam Akano. It'll be Williams engaging with Walker. Williams goes, oh yeah, hand down, man down. Timeout forced to be called on the court. This game's starting to slip back away. Remember, the Titans led this second half 16-9 at one point. Well, Lightning have gone on quite a run, 8-0 as of late. And as a result, they have a 16-point lead, led by 13 after 1, 15 after 2. And here in the third, they're leading by 16, so things again going in the wrong direction if you're the Titans, who are trying to avoid dropping to 5-10 in the regular season. I mean, the only tongue-in-cheek thing you could say if you're a Titans fan, though, is that all 4 teams are going to make the NBLC postseason. So, I mean, just off of that alone, your regular season record really means diddly squat. You could have a 0-20 record going to the postseason. As long as you don't lose any playoff games, last time I checked, that makes you a champion. So, really, it's not going to be how the KW Titans start this race. It's going to be how they end it. And remember, last year, nobody really gave him a shot in that opening round series versus the Sudbury 5, but Rayson got an injury for the 5. They also lost a couple bigs that went over to the CBL. And as a result, the Titans were able to upset the 5 in that opening round series last year and face the Lightning in the finals. And unfortunately for them, they got really banged up in that process. If they were 100% healthy, I think it would have been a much different game. As I was kind of not trying to throw the official under the bus, but I was also wondering, why the heck are you starting the game when half the court is still occupied by players coming on and off? And he started the game all right, and then he realized about 3 steps in that, wait a minute, maybe I should blow the whistle here. And instead they're calling a foul on Terry Thomas. I need John Van Hellingen back. I didn't think I was going to say that this much tonight, but I definitely do. completely missed that last foul. Although as Burns has this one ricochet around the rim. I'm sure if you're Terry Thomas going off to the sidelines, you're simply saying the expression ball don't lie after he missed that one. It must have been a technical too, because it's the one and done. They missed the shot, but they still inbound from their own headline. Brent Burns. Double dribble. We rarely get that call in this league, folks. They've never called palming or double dribble in my entire life, and I've seen guys do it every single game. Well, no love for the newcomer in Jones, I guess. You got to have a little seniority to get away with it in this league, I guess. More than one game, at least. I honestly never seen... We've called, 3 or 4 seasons of this? As the charge will be against Williams. Williams can't believe it, but great job by Effigy to have his feet planted before the Michigan native ran him over. Williams, so far in this game, he's got to be careful. That's 3 fouls now. Jean Couch and Morty also have 3 on the Lightning side of the fence. Elijah Effigy, who is on the court right now, 5 fouls in this game. So he's got to be careful. Like a moving screen like that could have been the game for him right there. The referees really wanted to. That was technically a 6th foul on the court. You can provide a screen for your teammates. You can't shuffle your feet during that screen. And literally on that last play with 5 fouls, shuffling his feet on the perimeter was Effigy. So we'll see what Cliff Klingscale's tactic is here for number 12 when you consider that the Canadian on the court from Montreal, Quebec is sitting at 5 fouls. He has the ball right now. Goes right after Williams. Can't get this one off the window, and no call. They're saying it was last touched by Effigy. We're all the way up here in the nosebleeds at Budweiser Gardens, but I would love to say what the assistant coach of the Titans was saying to Effigy at the end of that play. As once again, an off-ball foul occurs, and London's going to turn the ball over here. London started off this game so well, and yet over the course of 2+ quarters of action, they're now tied with the Titans in turnovers with 12 each. In fact, Titans now have more points off of turnovers, just be it 14-12. Total rebounds, in fact, favored the Titans by 1, 31-30 so far in this game. So they are trailing by 16 points. How the heck is that happening if they're neck and neck in almost every other category? Well, it comes down to field goal shooting. London is shooting 54.2% in this game. They've made more shots than they've missed. As Poole will make this, are they counting that as an and one? Yes, they are. Great job by Poole to chew into this deficit his team's playing. So going back to my point, London shooting 54.2%. They've made 26 of 48 shots so far in this game. In fact, they're just as hot from downtown. They've made 10 of 21. That's 47.6%. Kearns splits a seam and 1 as he schools Jean Couch. That'll be the 4th foul of the game against Jean Couch. Kearns goes to the line. It is the lone category where KW is dominating. They're shooting 75% from the charity stripe right now, 9 of 12. London's gone on the line 22 times, though, and only made 14. That's 63.6%. It's not that KW is shooting that poorly. They're shooting 41% from the field, 25 of 61. But again, 54.2%. London simply outshooting them. In fact, KW has more bench points too, 25-19, more second chance points, 8-2, and more points in the paint, 30-28. It just comes down to London making their shots. Not to sound like Greg Popovich or anything, but it's the obvious answer here on your Saturday night. Haley Jr. to Audie. He backtracks this all the way to midcourt. Under 2 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Audie stuck on a pivot foot, has to give this one off to Morty. Shot clock's expiring. Elijah Lufil will be called for the charge. And again, great job by Effigy, the guy that's battling with 5 fouls. Heck, if it doesn't go against Lufil, it can only go against somebody else. That would be FSJ's 6th foul of the game. So he's playing with fire, and it seems like it's working for him. $1:46 remains here in the third quarter of play. London enjoying a 14-point lead. They led by 15 at half and 13 after the first quarter. Elijah Lufiel grabs the loose change, spins around to Morty, crosses it over to Audie, and they move into the front court. Now to Burns. The Texas native from San Antonio walks this one back with Kearns on his, rear. Burns, awkward floater? I don't think awkward exists in Burns' dictionary. Kindred trying to respond, can't get it to go. Kindred so far in this game, continuing to struggle from beyond the arc. He's 0 of 6. Jeremiah Morty, it rims out. Elijah Lufiel on the recycling bin, and 1. Elijah Lufiel, he just had 2 points and 2 rebounds prior to that bucket, but that was a big one, grabbing the offensive rebound, splitting the 2 Titans defenders, and grabbing the N1 play. Lufiel spent 3 years at Oral Roberts, where he started 13 of 54 games. He can't make the N1 play. Although he gets it back, he'll get more than 1. 2's better than 1. Why not? And look at him hustle back on defense, dictating where they should go. Trying to break it down is Effiche, sidestepping around Lufiel. Anything you can do, I can do better. But it is an 18-point lead for the Lightning. Remember, they led the Windsor Express by 30 the last time they were out here at Budweiser Gardens, as Lufiel couldn't cap off the Audie pass. Poole crosses over midcourt with the shot clock turned off. He'll put on the brakes, and the Titans will settle for the final shot of the third quarter. Samuel Kearns, who's only got 2 points so far in this game, stuck on his pivot, finds Brent Jones. Jones should have taken the shot, instead fed Effiche. Well, he proved me wrong. Effiche gets the points, and the buzzer goes. Effiche with 6 points after 3 quarters of play, but his team does trail by 16 now after the third quarter. So again, it's not like London's really gone out of their way after the first quarter. They were leading 33-20 after 12 minutes of play. That's a 13-point lead. They only outscored the Titans by 2 over the course of the second quarter to still a 15-point lead at half. It's a 16-point lead heading into the fourth quarter. So I guess the one thing I will say are keys to the game, brought to you by thestable.ca. Own a little, love it a lot. Not just that it was about size and speed, because the size of Amir Williams and Kerr Jean-Couch has physically been taking a toll on the Titans' defense here tonight. But I think about the speed, if you will, of a Marcus Audie and a Mike Nuga, who are combined for 13 points so far in this game. It's a deadly tandem. But our number one point, if you recall, on the London side of the fence, for that you're going to make every one of those shots, but that's a potential 48 points left off the table. You're down. You're down 16. You've left 48 points, I beg your pardon, off the table potentially. 3 of 19 is a 15.8% shooting percentage, which means actually they are shooting the daylights out of the basketball when it's a 2-ball selection, because they're 27 of 65 overall, and they've missed 16 shots out of that 65 from beyond the arc. So something's going to have to change dramatically from downtown for the Titans in blue tonight, or they're going to have to really start to rumble it into the paint. Kearns, though, chooses plan A to the John Urban plan A or plan B scenario, which was start shooting the ball better from downtown. Kearns starts the fourth quarter, and Titans are technically 1 of 1 from downtown after being 3 of 19 in this game. Terry Thomas trying to mix up Poole. I love that play when the defender just goes, you know what? Why don't I just hang on to this rock for you, and you're not going to be able to put it up onto the net. Amir Williams wants to check in here for the Lightning, and he will. Elijah Lufiel is going to check off. There's 14 seconds left in the possession for the Lightning. It'll be Jordan Burns from the end line. Haley trying to cross in from the baseline. Eventually will be fed by Burns. Lost it and got it back from Poole. A desperation three, nowhere near the basket. Walker turns it to the Kitchener native and Juwan Miller. Miller using a Walker screen to feed Kindred in the near side. Your defending MVP of the NBLC finds Mike Poole. Lost it as he tried to go up for the shot. And almost from a victory knee, Haley leaves it for Burns. Back up to Thomas. Tried to find Williams. He loses it too. Kindred and the Titans need points in a hurry. Currently trailing by 13 on the road here on your Saturday night. They will play the Lightning in their barn on Wednesday at the Auditorium at 7 p.m. Poole puts it up. Doesn't go. Rebound is picked up by Williams, and he'll leave it there for the Nigerian and Morty. Jordan Burns leading everybody on the court right now with 17 points. He's also got 6 assists and 3 rebounds. Guarded fiercely by Miller. He will lose the ball. Epic defense by Juwan Miller to go right after your potential MVP in 2023 like white on rice, and, well, it forces the turnover. So KW is going to need a lot more of that on defense and a lot more of what we saw Samuel Kearns do to start this fourth quarter, which was hit a 3-ball. You're going to need a lot more stops and a few more threes, and you'll be right back into this game. Edwards from Kearns was trying to go to Walker. Pass is stolen away by Burns. Burns to Morty, moves it into the front court. Backing down, Samuel Kearns is Morty. Morty trying to split between the two Titans. This bucket won't count, and in fact, I think they're calling the foul against Morty as he pushed off with that front forearm. Again, hearing John Van Houwelingen in my ear, despite the fact that he left me for family today, the nerve. But just the fact that, you know, in certain cases, Morty would have gotten away with that until he extends the forearm out. And when he extends it out, the official really has no choice but to make that call. Kearns crosses the court to Miller. Miller with the floater. It rims out. Walker out-muscling 3 Lightning players to leave it for Edwards. Over to Kearns. Kearns now puts up the one-hand floater. It won't go. Back to Walker. Uses the glass for 2. And after Walker grabbed the points off the glass, Doug Plum calls a timeout down on the court with his team up by 11. So far in this fourth quarter, it's technically a 5-0 run for the Titans. 2 minutes and 18 seconds into the fourth quarter of play. Titans are shooting a bit better now from downtown. They're at 20%. Still half as good as the Lightning, shooting at 43.5% from downtown. And interesting to note, though, London's left 9 free points off the table from the charity stripe, where they're 14 of 23. That's 60.9%. In a game where you're up by 11, you won't even think about that. Only a silly announcer like me would put that in your ear. But let's say this is a close game, which you're going to anticipate a lot of the playoff games on the horizon are going to be. 60.9% shooting from your team at the free throw line is simply unacceptable. Again, I want to give a big shout out to the real MVPs of this broadcast, and Quentin and Cameron, our camera people for Cujo Entertainment, as well as Curtis McDonald back in the truck, the 3 amigos all telling their families, I'll hang out with you another day. Unlike that John Van Houwelingen guy who put his family over this. We're the real familia, John, if you're tuning in somewhere. I assume the St. Thomas area. These two teams will hook it up again on Wednesday night at the Auditorium, 7 p.m. Tickets available at nblc.ca as well as the KW Titans website. All going down at the Auditorium with a 7 p.m. tip-off. As I like to say, it's a game so nice they're going to do it twice. But if the Titans can't continue to rumble in this fourth quarter, it might be a game they want to forget, as they are trying to avoid so far in 2023 to falling to 3-10 overall versus NBLC opponents and 3 and 6 away from the auditorium. 9:20 remains in this game. Haley spinning around in the paint. Leaves it there for Williams, who was originally rejected by Walker, but Williams followed it up. That's a tough play for Tyron Walker. He beautifully blocks Williams, but it bounced right back into the big man's lap. What are you going to do? Walker saves this one from going out of bounds now. Underneath the London basket, he's going to be fouled. So Walker, or no, I apologize. They're saying it's a time count violation against the Titans. London ball. Burns calling out his teammates, looking, hey, wait a minute, I need somebody to inbound the ball to. Haley responds to that, and they give and go quickly to move it into the front court. Williams faked it to Burns, faked it to Haley. Doesn't give it to Thomas, eventually gives it to Nuga. Hits the front of the rim. Walker got tied up with Williams, and I believe they're calling Walker on the foul. So we're 8:42 away from the Titans to fall to 5 and 10 in the regular season. Lightning will improve to 18 and 6. Lightning will quickly start playing an out-of-town scoreboard watch, as there is another game happening simultaneously in the league between the Windsor Express and the Sudbury 5. That game is currently 120-119 with 7 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Express have the ball, and they are down by 1 with 7 seconds left on the clock. If Sudbury can hold on, they'll improve to 18 and 5 and remain in first place in the NBLC. If they somehow lose that game to the Express, though, at home in the next 7 seconds, well, if London holds on to the win tonight, from my understanding, the teams would flip. London would move into first place, and Sudbury would push down to second. 8:03 remains in this one, though. Terry Thomas is rejected by the rim. It's Edwards on the rebound, trying to tell his team to push the pace back the other way. Edwards says, I'm going to do it all by myself. He won't get the bucket, but he'll draw the foul out of Williams. So I'm just continuing to keep one eye on this game and another eye on our out-of-town scoreboard. There's still 7 seconds left in that game. 120-119 in favor of the Sudbury 5. Again, the 5 hang on to win that game. They're going to remain in first place in the NBLC no matter what happens in this contest. They lose that game, and the Lightning hold on for the victory in the next 7:55 of this one. Those teams are going to switch positions in the NBLC standings. You're going to see Sudbury go from first to second, and Lund go from second to first, as Edwards makes this one from the line. And I'm assuming with 1 second left in that other game that this is now a final. As it's Brent Jones grabbing the loose change after the free throw miss. Finds Edwards, who faked the shot. Leaves it there. That's Kindred into the corner. Can't get it to go. Haley on the rebound. So Kindred continuing to have a tough night, especially from beyond the arc. So far in this game, he's 0 of 7 from downtown. 2 of 10 from the field. He's got 4 rebounds and 4 assists, folks. But an off night with just 6 points for your defending MVP. .735 remains in this game from Budweiser Gardens. Again, continuing to look at the out-of-town scoreboard. They haven't made it official just yet. In fact, now they say there's just 1 second left in that game. So it looks like it's going to take a bit of a miracle for the Express to come back and win that game on the road. The Express might fall now to 10 and 11 in the regular season. They'll be in third place for sure. Lightning leading by 14 points in this one with 7.5 to go on your Saturday evening. From the far elbow, Edwards couldn't get it to go. Lufiel put his body on the line to, well, give his team possession of the rock. Burns and the Lightning, you see, is sort of trying to slow down the pace a bit and burn some clock as they get into the zone. As Haley and 1. That ball just sat on the rim for an extra second or two and decided, you know what, I'm going to give the crowd something to cheer about. And again, these two teams will hook it up back in Kitchener-Waterloo, specifically the Kitchener side of the city, at the auditorium. That will take place on Wednesday night with a 7 p.m. tip-off. Sudbury, by the way, at the free throw line. Just like Jermaine Haley's at the free throw line here and makes both. So now Sudbury currently enjoying a 121-119 lead over the the Windsor Express, as the Sudbury 5 are winning at home right now over them. And with 1 second left, it looks like the Express will have, I guess, I don't know what you'd say, like a half-court heave, a hope and a prayer. They do have a shot, albeit a limited one. Poole trying to find Walker. Pass is interrupted by Lufiel. Lufiel trying to power this one off the glass for two. He had Mike Nuga right beside him, and it almost used Nuga as a distraction just to coast it off the glass. Elijah Lufiel, 6 points in this game, 3 of 4 from the field. He's also got 5 rebounds in the contest. Mike Poole from the charity stripe. It won't go down. Poole is 2 of 11 from the field, 0 of 3 from downtown for 6 points in the game. Jermaine Haley tied with Burns, leading everybody on the court with 19 points. Instead, he feeds an apple down low to Lufiel, who's rejected by Tyron Walker. It's been a bit of a rough night for Walker, but that's got to make the North Carolina native feel good. As Jones goes to the left-hander and simply swings this one around Jermaine Haley. Now trying to play some defense. I was going to say, if Jones didn't touch that, I don't think he did. He didn't touch that ball, Mr. Burns. It should be KW inbound. So Brent Jones bewilders Jermaine Haley for the bucket and then immediately goes and starts to play defense, but now are they going to say Haley had his foot on the line when he touched that turnover, as the officials are having a conversation about it? In fact, Haley and Edwards are continuing to have I thought that happened like this. Well, no, I saw you do this. Listen, I have a feeling neither are going to come to a conclusion on this matter. Haley's going to keep arguing for lightning ball, and Edwards is going to continue to say, hey, man, it's ours. The officials are going to concur with Edwards, though. It'll be Mike Poole trying to inbound it here. Poole will inbound. Brent Jones, who's been hot the last couple minutes, looked like stuck on a pivot foot, frees himself up. Feeds a pass to Effigy, who draws the foul. In fact, Effigy might have wore a slap across the cheek that time. Still a 17-point lead for the London Lightning, though, on your Saturday night. They look to improve to 18-6 in the regular season and 12-6 versus the National Basketball League of Canada. Now, an interesting article was released in the KW media earlier this week, which talked about a potential super league being built out of both the franchises in the National Basketball League of Canada, the Canadian franchises such as the Montreal Tundra, Academy Elma, as well as the Newfoundland Rogues, who are in the Basketball League, and then what they were referring to as upper echelon franchises from the Basketball League in a North American basketball-based association in 2024. KW was simply commenting that they would be interested in joining that league. No word from London about the word on the matter, as Effigy with a nasty little block turns it the other way for the boys in blue. Mike Poole pulls up for 3, nylon ripper. And as a result, a timeout is called immediately by Doug Plum with 5:25 remaining in this fourth quarter. So I know people have given me a little bit of a hard time over the course of the 2023 season for me just telling me, my peace of mind, my 2 cents, the obvious, the fact that, you're looking at a league that once had double-digit teams, 2 conferences, multiple provinces, and technically now is down to 4 teams in 1 province. Ontario, Sudbury, Windsor, and London. So it's the Ontario Basketball League, really. You have a bunch of opponents coming in from the states to fill in the regular season schedule the last 2 years. Teams from Flint, Kalamazoo, Albany, Syracuse, etc. Northern states like Pennsylvania, New York, Michigan, and Indiana. Kokomo's in Indiana, Curtis. Again, you're talking about teams, though, joining this league to sort of build in a schedule. Well, now it's gotten to the point where, okay, if you can't add any more Canadian content in this league and the Canadian content is being added to the other league, it looks like a joint venture is a sure bet. And that was, again, not confirmed, and a constant whimsical thought by broadcasters, fans, and critics alike over the last 2+ seasons. But after that article released by Kitchener, it appears like it is going to come to fruition, that a Super League is on the horizon between the Basketball League of America and the National Basketball League of Canada, between the 4 franchises that are left. In fact, supposedly this year, I don't know if they've confirmed it or not, but they said that the champion of this league should be playing the champion of the TBL. So, for instance, last year, I believe it was the Shreveport Mavericks beating the Albany Patroons in TBL. It was London beating these Titans in the final, meaning that it would be the Shreveport Mavericks versus the London Lightning in a North American championship if the same thing were to occur this year. As I thought Terry Thomas was hammered in the back by Mike Poole. There's no call on the play, but they're going to call, I believe, Edwards on the foul against Elijah Lufield trying to attack the rack. So I guess if you're a London Lightning fan or a KW fan for that matter, your main concern is, hey, is my team playing next year and will there be a league? And I guess the resounding answer to both those questions will be yes. Both teams will still be playing. Now, what the league they'll be playing in or what scenario they'll be in isn't exactly clear right now. But the fact that the Titans, who are, by the way, just coming under new ownership, and the Lightning, who have a well-established ownership base under the Frisia family, will both be willing to join the Super League supposedly in the years to come. But enough of this Super League business. Let's get back to the league at hand, which is the National Basketball League of Canada. You have the team in second place right now in the London Lightning, beating up the fourth place team in the KW Titans. And the other games so far are going on. It looks like the Sudbury Five have pulled out the 121-119 victory to improve to 18-5, meaning that even if London wins this game, they won't be able to change positions standing-wise. As Edwards is tasting some rim rejection, it looks like Tyran Walker is down on the court. I hope he's okay. Burns capitalizes. I mean, I guess it's basketball, but I don't agree with that. They let the whole play develop to go down to the end of the court. And then once Burns finally got the bucket, that's when the FAR official goes, okay, let me blow the whistle because this player is clearly hurt. If you're talking about player safety and player protocol, the whistle should have gone right out of the gate, in my opinion. You keep the ball in London's possession. I mean, heck, even if you take away the last bucket, they still have a 15-point lead prior to now being 17. As Walker does appear to be okay on the other end of the court, the trainers are out to look at him, albeit just briefly. Maybe he just got the wind knocked out of him. And again, my producer Curtis is saying that he looked at the replay and didn't see anything that physical, and that Walker looked like he went down almost on his own accord. So if that is the case, I mean, then the official, in my opinion, did make the right call. He let the play develop. He let London get the basket, and then he was concerned about the player's health and well-being and blew the whistle, as Walker is going to check off right now. But I was a little worried at first if it was a serious injury. I don't know why you would let the other team just go all the way down the court, score, and then blow the whistle going, well, wait a minute, we got an injured player here. You think that would have happened right away. But I think our producer and Curtis called it right down the pipe, where if he went down on his own accord because of, an incidental contact. As Brent Jones, what an impressive debut here at Budweiser Gardens for Brent Jones, filling in. Well, I guess not filling in. Jonathan Williams no longer on the team, now wearing Jonathan Williams number 15. And Brent Jones actually leading all Titans on the court right now with 17 points and 7 assists. In fact, stop popping and locking is Brent Jones again. 19 points in the game. Only Jermaine Haley, who also has 19, and Jordan Burns with 23 have more than him and any other player on the court. 3:40 remains in this game. Burns trying to feed an apple to Lufield. Coincidentally rolls to Morty. They're going to say he was fouled by Jones. If it's against Jones, it's just his first foul of the game. By the way, 2 players have already fouled out of this game. Shows you how well I'm paying attention. Elijah Effiget has fouled out of the game with 6 points in this contest and 2 rebounds. And Amir Williams has fouled out of the game with 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. It'll take a pretty big surprise of the Kinder variety for the Titans to come back with 3:30 remaining in this game. But if they did, not having an Amir Williams available for overtime would be a big thing. Although they are missing a fellow big themselves in the Quebec native in Effiget. Another foul against the Titans, the team's 6th foul. As London, again, just trying to drip the clock out, so to speak, and get away with the victory on your Saturday evening. They will be back in action on Wednesday night, albeit on the road, against the KW Titans at the Auditorium. Burns, nifty footwork. Shots released as the shot clock was expiring. And I think Brent Jones is the one getting called on the foul on Terry Thomas behind the play. So Terry Thomas will go to the line to shoot 2. Jones, who didn't have a foul going into this quarter, has picked up 2 in the last minute or so. Terry Thomas has got 14 points so far in this game, a perfect 2 for 2 from the charity stripe. Make that 3 for 3. Makes it a 16-point lead here with 3:10 remaining on the Budweiser clock. Looking at the scores table, Brent Jones having an elongated conversation with the crew chief and Mr. Assels in front of his head coach and Cliff Clinkscales. As Hayes and Haley getting into it just a little bit. Great job by the official to literally walk right between them and Izadrad. Nothing's better than separating the players and literally walking between the two. Trust me, I think that's a smart call. Don't let them continue to get in each other's grills. I think Edwards was wanting a call on Haley. In fact, he's talking with Assels as he goes back up the court. KW picks this one up actually in London territory, which then starts the clock. Down by 17, they need points, and they need points in a hurry, as they're going to say Jones traveled as he tried to split the 2 defenders. So a rough last couple minutes of play for Brent Jones after having one heck of a debut here at Budweiser Gardens. He's leading the Titans in points with 19. In fact, he's leading them with assists with 7, and he's got 3 rebounds. But over the last couple minutes, he's picked up 2 fouls. He's had a couple turnovers. Now a charge is called to Jermaine Haley. That'll be just his 2nd foul of the game. By the way, Jeremiah Morty, 5 fouls. Jean Couch, 4 fouls. And I already mentioned Williams is fouled out of this game with 6. Effiget on the Titans side is fouled out of the game with 6. Edwards and Samuel Kearns are the only other ones in trouble with 4. Kearns leaves it to Jones. Jones pulls up. And the back official says they're going to count it. The front officials are saying no, and you're going to inbound the ball. Okay. So listen to the front officials is the moral of that story, as KW will inbound instead. Jones lost it, whipped it back, no-look style to Kearns, who caps it off from distance. Jones was in the process of losing that ball and sort of no-look whipped his offhand and absolutely made a laser beam pass to his teammate who hit the 3. 2:20 remains here in the 4th quarter of play. Jeremiah Morty going after Brent Jones. I thought that was a clear travel, folks. I don't know what I'm seeing on the court anymore, but it went by the official's eye, and as a result, London got the 2 points. Now responding in kind quickly, though, as Edwards gets 2 of his own. London at the century mark, leading by 14 as we've hit the 2-minute warning. I want to give a big shout out to Curtis's mom in the Charlottetown Power. Yes, picking up their win in their debut. I think it was their home opener tonight when they took on the Moncton Motion. Yeah, the Motion. And, well, Moncton, they don't get a win. The Charlotte Power and Curtis's mom are victorious. Yay, go Power. Again, the East Coast Professional Basketball League, which has started about a week ago, includes teams like Charlottetown, Moncton, Summerside, I believe. There's no, not Summerside. You get me all sad. Truro, though, has one. And Bathurst. So there's a couple East Coast teams that actually had franchises in this league that now have franchises in that league. In fact, I believe the Charlottetown Power, if my eyes are correct, we're playing on an Island Storm court earlier today. Not going to touch that one. With 90 seconds left in this one, we get back to the NBLC action. London enjoying a 12-point lead. Remember, they led by 13 after one, 15 at half, 16 after the third. KW's winded it down to 12, and they get the ball back. So it ain't over till it's over. Brent Jones, down low to a teammate. Edwards, instead of going for the easy bucket, tried to kick it out to Kearns and is intercepted by Nuga. Nuga into the front court. 1 minute remaining here on your Saturday night. Man, oh man, I think about that last possession for the Titans. That's a real chain breaker when you consider if they get some points out of that possession, it's only down to double digits. Well, it's down to 10 at least. My point is you whittle it down, and instead, winding it up is Terry Thomas. So these two teams have played neck and neck in the second half as it's a 3-ball down the pipe for the Titans. In fact, the Titans are leading this quarter of action 25-20, despite being outscored 23-22 in the third quarter and 26-24 in the second quarter. The real difference in this game goes all the way back to the first quarter, where London outscored them 33-20, and the Titans weren't able to split the difference since. Burns can't get the shot to go. Hayes on the rebound, up to Edwards. Shot clock's been turned off. Edwards over the pool, 3 balls away, splash! So the score will look a lot more respectable than how the game went as Burns gets across midcourt. He's trying to avoid Poole, who's trying to swipe at him. Burns doing the respectable thing and not trying to get any more points. Lightning win. Lightning win. After a dominating 33-20 opening quarter, the Lightning hang on to that throughout the rest of the game and pull away with the 8-point victory, despite the fact that in the second quarter of play, they only outscored their opponents, or I should say they were outscored by their opponents by 7 points. These two teams will hook it up again Wednesday night. The scenery will change to the auditorium in Kitchener, and on Wednesday night on April 12th at 7 p.m., these two teams will tip off yet again. The Titans, unfortunately, fall to a 5-10 record in 2023. Your London Lightning improved to 18-6, but as I mentioned, Sudbury already tonight beat the Windsor Express in a thrilling 121-119 final, improving to 18-5 themselves. So the quote, sort of a baseball terminology, if you will, the Sudbury Five still have a half-game lead on your London Lightning as far as the regular season standings is concerned. The KW Titans, yeah, they do find themselves in the basement after this 8-point loss, but at the end of the day, they have many more games at hand. Not just against Sudbury or Windsor, but against London as well. And, you know, mathematically speaking, I don't see them catching up to Sudbury or London, but they still have a shot at catching the Windsor Express at the third place slot.